Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hey guys, Marco here from Aviator Live CS. Welcome back to my channel. And today we'll be talking about part 2 for the automatic flight system for the Boeing 737. So today we'll start talking about the autopilot. And then we have a couple of things here. We have the autopilot engagement criteria, and then we will talk about the autopilot disengagement. So each autopilot can be engaged by pushing a separate command or CWS, which is control wheel steering engage switch, which you can see here. So here you can see command A, command B, CWS-A, CWS-B. Autopilot engagement in command or CWS is inhibited unless both of the following pilot control conditions are met. No force is being applied to the control wheel. The stop trim autopilot cutout switch is at normal position. Let's talk about how we can disengage the autopilot now. So we can do it by pushing either autopilot disengage switch, column or wheel force override, pushing either takeoff go around toga switch with a single autopilot engaged in CWS, or command below 2000 feet radar altimeter, or with flaps not up or glide slope engaged. Pushing either takeoff go around toga switch with a single autopilot engaged in CWS or command above 2000 feet radar altimeter with flaps not up or glide slope engaged. Pushing either toga switch after touchdown with both autopilots engaged in command. Pushing an eliminated autopilot engaged switch. Pushing the autopilot disengage bar down, this one here. Activating either pilot's control wheel trim switch, moving the stop trim autopilot cutout switch to cutout. So those are the ways we can disengage the autopilot. Now if we talk about the flight director display, turning a flight director switch on, we can do it here. Remember, this is in the MCP. Display its command bars on the respective pilot's attitude indicator if command, pitch, or roll modes are engaged. So here you can see those command bars. If command, pitch, and roll modes are not engaged, the flight director command bars do not appear. The flight directors can be operated with or without the autopilot and autothrottle. Flight director command modes can be used with an autopilot engaged in CWS. Flight director commands operate in the same command modes as the autopilot, except the takeoff mode is a flight director only mode. Dual flight director guidance is available for single engine operation. The flight director has no landing flare capability. Flight director command bars are retract from view at approximately 50 feet radar altimeter on an ILS approach. Let's talk about the autopilot flight director system flight mode annunciations. And here you can see these small tables showing all the modes for auto throttle, roll, and pitch. So auto throttle engaged mode, which is this column here on the FMA, you can see N1, go around, retard, FMC speed, MCP speed, thrust hold, arm, which is white. For the roll engaged mode, you can see head and select, VOR lock, LNAV, FAC, which is final approach course if you have the IAN option, and back course. Roll arm mode, in this case, VOR lock. Now if we talk about pitch engaged modes, we have toga, vertical speed, altitude acquired, altitude hold, VNAV speed, VNAV path, VNAV alt, MCP speed, glide slope, and flare. In this case, pitch arm mode, glide slope, or flare could be there. Okay, now let's talk about the Autopilot Flight Director System status annunciation. The following AFDS status annunciations are displayed in the Autopilot status display located above the attitude indicator on the outboard displayed unit, which you can see here. Command: one or both autopilots are engaged. If we see FD, or Flight Director, the Flight Director is on, and the autopilot is either off or engaged in CWS. Now, if we see CWSP, means pitch mode engaged in CWS, CWSR, roll mode engaged in CWS, and single channel for single autopilot ILS approach annunciates after localizer capture and remains on for entire approach. For dual autopilot ILS approach, annunciates after localizer capture and extinguishes after pitch monitor confidence test is successfully completed. Let's talk about the autopilot control wheel steering. CWS engaged switch selected, which you can see here. CWS A, CWS B. Pushing a CWS engaged switch engages the autopilot pitch and roll axis in the CWS mode and displays CWSP and CWSR on the FMAs. So remember, you can see that here. With CWS engaged, the autopilot maneuvers the airplane in response to control pressures applied by either pilot. The control pressure is similar to that required for manual flight. When control pressure is released, the autopilot holds existing attitude. If aileron pressure is released with 6 degrees or less bank, the autopilot rolls the wings level and holds existing heading. Now we will talk about Autothrottle system. The Autothrottle system provides automatic thrust control from the start of takeoff through climb, cruise, descent, approach, and go around or landing. In normal operation, the FMC provides the Autothrottle system with N1 limit values. The Autothrottle moves the thrust levers with a separate servo motor on each thrust lever. Following manual positioning, the Autothrottle may reposition the thrust levers to comply with computed thrust requirements, except while in the thrust hold or arm modes. All right, let's talk about Autothrottle engagement and disengagement. And we'll start with the engagement here. So moving the Autothrottle arm switch to arm arms the autothrottle for engagement in the N1 MCP speed or FMC speed mode. The autothrottle arm switch is magnetically held at arm and releases to off when the autothrottle becomes disengaged. A general summary of autothrottle mode engagement is as follows. Autothrottle speed or N1 modes automatically engage when AFDS command pitch modes become engaged. Engaging level change or VNAV climb modes automatically engages the autothrottle N1 mode. Engaging level change or VNAV descent modes automatically engages the autothrottle in retard and then arm when thrust is at idle. If not in a VNAV mode, engagement of altitude acquired or alt hold automatically engages the autothrottle in the MCP speed mode. Otherwise, the autothrottle remains in FMC speed. Engagement of glide slope capture automatically engages the autothrottle in the MCP speed mode. Now, if we talk about disengagement of the autothrottle, any of the following conditions or actions disengages the autothrottle. Moving the autothrottle arm switch to off, pushing either autothrottle disengage switch, an autothrottle system fault is detected, 2 seconds have elapsed since landing touchdown. The autothrottle also disengages if it is engaged in a speed mode, retard for descent mode, or an N1 mode other than autothrottle go around mode, and thrust levers become separated more than 10 degrees, significant thrust difference along with control wheel roll input of 10 degrees or more at any point throughout the entire flight envelope. Autothrottle disengagement is followed by an autothrottle arm switch releasing to off and flashing red autothrottle disengagement lights.